Tyler, Michael, good to see you both. Welcome to Popternative.
Thanks, Peter. How are you?
I am doing well. Here's the thing about this. It's pretty crazy. I remember when this movie was announced. Like, it's crazy. I've interviewed a lot of your cast. I know a lot of your cast. So I was just playing the waiting game myself because I really wanted to see this movie. So it's crazy that, in theaters November 10th, people are going to be able to see it. I have questions for both of you. Michael, we'll start with, this script. I'm just curious because I think in the best way possible, you have this Nightmare Before Christmas thing going where people can watch this during spooky season, they can watch it during holiday season, which is the best. It's the best thing. So I'm just curious, when you're writing this thing, Michael, are you conscious of the audience, like what audience is going to watch this movie and when they watch it, or does that come afterwards?
No, I mean, I thought of it. When I sat down to write this movie, I knew I wanted to write a Christmas movie, and I didn't know what it was in the beginning, but when I eventually found it, I started thinking about that. I remember just kind of playing a little bit in my head, fantasy, just like, oh, how cool would it be if this is like on some people's rotation every Christmas, year in and year out, and then it never really occurred to me as a Halloween movie, but I've had that actually come up a couple times during the press circuit of like, this is actually makes for a good Halloween watch.
Well, it's a slasher, right? So I feel like
so that's even better, and we're almost at a point now where the two seasons basically bridge together at this point.
It was so weird. It was like Halloween, and then it was like
November 1st was Christmas. So maybe it'll be the first watch for some people in November. I don't know. But yeah, I did think of it because I think of things like that all the time. Like, you have no fucking idea how excited I am to put on my 4K version of Black Christmas.
Yeah.
Year, and it's like my husband puts up with all my horrorness, and he's become a big horror fan, but he also is like, it's November 1st. Can we wait maybe a week? So but I have that DVD ready to go. And he even offered to watch a Christmas movie with me last night, and I opted for Final Destination 2 instead because I'm walking him through some
I'm a big horror movie guy too, Michael. We could talk about it forever.
Yeah, I mean, I could start. This question could be the only thing we talk about for 15 minutes.
Exactly. But to add that, Tyler, I find it interesting because the journey from having a script and then putting it on screen always interests me, right? So from a directing perspective, given that this is a genre-bending movie, it's got the horror, it's got the comedy and everything, what was that journey like for you from a director's standpoint, kind of seeing that on script and seeing that kind of transform onto the screen specifically?
Yeah, I mean, for me, like when I'm looking for things that I'm coming on as a director, a couple of the things I've done previously on the feature side were all things that I had written. And so I'm always looking for what's kind of different, and not only like from a perspective of like, I want something that I wouldn't normally write, but also like, what can I bring to this, and for me, it was just trying to I think I had a really clear idea of the, a really clear beat of like what those two worlds look like, like the kind of traditional Christmas, like hyper, like super Hallmark, kind of like with a little edge to it. And then contrasting it with this kind of very cool kind of nightmare world that our main character finds themselves in, and then finding those like details back and forth and kind of making it the balance of those two things and the kind of fun energy that creates. And so figuring out like how to effectively aid things with all the cinematic tools, and I like collaborating with people, and I like building references and building a team, and I think we got really lucky on both the cast and crew side, that I could use a lot of those skills, and especially I've been looking for something to shoot up in Canada and the shot in Vancouver, and so there's a lot of things that I've been on my to-do list, including making a holiday movie that I got to kind of chase after on this project.
Absolutely. And, it is a slasher, Michael. So my next question is, I'm curious what it was like, the process of, we're not going to talk about the kills. There's some amazing kills. I hate these interviews because I want to talk about the kills in detail, but, here's the thing. Was the selection process of the kills, did you have a bunch of kills in mind? Was it like making a demo in a studio? You have 45 songs, you have to pick 15 for the actual record? Or did you have the kills we saw, were those the ones that were planned? I'm just curious about the selection process of the kills.
Combination of both. Tyler, am I right? Was the Candy Cane always part of it, or was that you?
You did a very good job because that was not in there was a clip of it was in the trailer, but
Yeah,
Not really.
but you
That was,
don't
that was
get like
well.
the full effect of it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the candy came in like I think the first draft after I came on as a director, but I think it came out of our discussion. You know,
Yeah.
like and you had sort of, and then the next draft I saw it was like, and it was a great kill because it can go anywhere. You know, like and like it's Christmas and it's motivated and it's not bound to like a lot of problems with coming up with kills is they're always related to. Or like often related to the environment and or specific characters and certain situations, and so you have to kind of rethink them over and over.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the snowman was really fun. That was like a cool. That was when the initial draft of the script, that death didn't exist yet. It actually wasn't a death until the party, and then we kind of talked and we're like, you know what, this will actually raise the stakes and that kind of stuff. So then the snowman became a part of that right away. I regret not doing killing somebody with lights in some way, to be honest with you. But Tyler found a different way to use lights. That
there might or might not have been strobe lights in this movie.
Yeah, and I think that is like kind of fun because it's unexpected. You know, I think people expect lights around a neck or something. So Tyler found a really inventive way to use those in a kill. So yeah, it was a combination of both. Some stuff changed. You know, you have to kind of go with. You know, you can write till you're blue in the face, but then when you get to a set or a location, you sometimes just have to change shit because location works for everything else but one thing, and that one thing needs to be sacrificed for it. So you just got to kind of be like wheels up and ready to change course if you need to.
I have a follow-up question for Tyler, but quickly get on that. Was that a similar is it, because like with Freaky, that's also a horror comedy, right? There's some comedy in it and it's funny. Was it a similar process writing It's a Wonderful Life, would you say, or was it like completely different, even though they're both kind of like horror comedies in a way?
It was different in the sense that I wrote Freaky with Chris Landon, who directed the movie. So there was a lot of there was the great thing about working with him, and I just finished another script with him, which I'm really excited about. But like, great thing about working with him is he is so visually motivated that every kill you see in Freaky literally came from Chris's head and was in the very first draft of the movie. Like, he knew that's what he was going to do. So yeah, I mean, it was similar, but it was different because it was by myself. So I got to work my own little way. And, you know, I took a lot of what I learned working with Chris, though, and put it into this movie.
No, for sure.
I was texting him yesterday. I was like, even though you're not a part of this, like, you're such a huge part of this to me, like, as a human, because I don't think without Chris, this movie ever would have gotten made, you know? So I did my own thing, but I also like took a lot of lessons I learned from him.
Absolutely. I feel like there's so many lessons for sure.
Yeah.
And then Tyler, I do have to say, you know, I mean, you know, Winnie Carruthers, you know, Jane Widdop, they did an incredible job in this film. And that's a big role because I feel like not only that's the lead role, but that's the role I really do feel like that balance you were talking about, Tyler, of the comedy and the horror. They're like all the kind of sequences in the movie are around kind of Winnie, basically. And there are horror sequences and there's funny sequences. What are the conversations like with Jane, with them specifically, if there were any, about that kind of role specifically in the beginning and the end throughout?
Yeah, I mean, that was my, you know, like they did a very good read early on. And so like they largely were cast, you know, based off like really getting the tone of the script just from the page, and then having like some good ideas and kind of bringing a lot of like that nuance to it, because we knew it was going to be a bit of a balance. But the weird thing is, like once I was able to talk to them and kind of have a bit more of a sort of frank discussion, well, you know, like this is a very unforgiving schedule. Like they shoot every single day, you know, like, and it's 18 days, you know, not a long time to do a movie this size. And at the same time, like it's a lot of pressure, like a lot of lines to be learned, a lot of stunt to perform, a lot of you know, makeup to go in and out of, and you know, it's you need to be like a leader, you know, in addition to that, and kind of like, you know, really be the keeper of the emotional arc of the whole movie. And it's a lot of pressure for somebody who's, you know, 20 years old, like, you know, and not a lot of people can do it. And a lot of people fold under those sorts of conditions. And Jane really, like, I think it helped, I think, quite a bit having Joel on set the first couple of days, because he really, like, you know, played a position on it and like really set a good example for the younger cast. Totally. And then Jane definitely, like, you know, I think continued that because it was really their movie, and then built a really good partnership with Jess and put the time in, that chemistry, and at the same time, like everyone else was kind of like coming into a scene to like have their jokes and have their bits, and Jane, gets some laughs, but ultimately has to really keep alive the like emotional arc of everything, and really keep a beat on the tone in a way that everyone else doesn't, and really needs to make us believe it. And so, I think they really put the work in a way that it was great to see for somebody, like who's so early in their career. And I feel very lucky, having been able to sort of find somebody to be a partner with us in that.
Totally. This cast is so good. Can we give a shout out to the cast quickly? Like this cast is so incredible. Yeah. Like everyone in this movie is so good. And it was one of those things when I saw the cast list, I was like, I know a lot of these people. Like it's just everyone just crushed it. Like you have such a good cast for this movie, Michael.
Yeah, I mean, we got really lucky, and we got a lot of lucky with our, besides, it took us a while to find Justin and get Justin and figure out what Henry Waters was going to look like. That character changed a million times in the scripting phase. But like, we got Joel right away. We got Jane right away. Like Tyler's first choice for Gail was Katharine Isabelle. We got Katie.
So good.
Like Jess was like fell from the sky, honestly, because like that was a hard role to cast. I think Tyler probably watched 200 tapes, and Jess.
Aiden was awesome.
Aiden's awesome. Aiden's great.
Cassandra Naud from Influencer on Shudder was awesome.
Yeah, who knew Cassandra was going to blow up the way she did before this movie came out? Like,
I mean, I kind of did.
Did you watch that movie? That was one of my favorites of the year.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, no, so Kurt Harder, who directed that movie, is from Calgary, where near where I'm from as well. And so, like I had sort of the inside track on like saw Cassandra's tape come through, and kind of had heard good things about their experience, and then kind of and they were already kind of like one of the standouts. So now that seeing Influencer, I was like, man, we need to give her more things to do. But we felt that way about a lot of the cast, though.
Oh, absolutely. No, there's so many. Like you mentioned, we mentioned Aiden, Sydney Scotia, like so many people.
Sydney was so good.
Yeah.
And
my God. Yeah, that was the other thing. Is like I feel bad because like I mean Sydney had like like only a few lines, but like crushed every single one.
God.
We had to trim one because we were trying to like and I was like, man, it's like cutting off your leg. It's like anyway, she's so funny and
so funny, and she was cast really late.
Yeah, really late. Yeah,
really late. I think we had already started shooting, and she came in for 2 days. Was it?
Yeah.
2 days, and was just she was one of my favorite people on set, just so sweet and so funny. And like just game. I love a person that like will play a character that is essentially like not a beauty queen, but like really rich and wears this fur and has makeup and all this stuff, and then just acts really villainy. It's so great. I love it. The microwave line kills me, and that was an ad lib on her part. So good. Like, yeah.
Man, no, I can't wait for people to see it, and it's going to be in theaters November 10th, and then eventually it will be on Shudder, but people are going to go see it in theaters first.
Go see it in the theater.
Michael, Tyler, so great chatting with you, Buff. I was really excited for this conversation, and I'm really happy we were able to do it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, very nice to meet you.
Awesome.
Yes.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.